Well, Dewey's store was built in 1896, and it was just a small merchandising store, and he built a two-story house for he and Adolph Bernhard, and Amelia and Paulina. Yes. They were a bachelor and two old maids, sisters and brothers, and they built this area right here. It was a crossroad. There was a barber shop and a few people living there, and a garage and a creamery. And the creamery, he built the store across the road from the creamery. And
Was there a post office too?
And, well, later, the post office was built. And it was there, I think, for about 4 years, and then RFD came in, Rural Free Delivery, and so it was just a post office a short time. And Uncle Adolph, he ran the store, and his sisters helped him. They lived above, they had an apartment above the store, and they had like a living room and two bedrooms. And then there was a basement, and then there was a store area, and on the east side was a little lean-to where they cooked. So they cooked on the east side of the store, and they had the store, and then they had steps going up to the living room, and then the two bedrooms were over the store. Yeah. And this didn't last very long because it wasn't satisfactory, and their parents needed a place to stay, so he added on to the house, which has the bay window, the living room, and the
As you girls
living.
know it now.
no,
Huh?
no,
Wasn't it
the
that way?
kitchen, no, the kitchen was that. They just added the living room and the bay window. And
Not where the dining room is?
no,
Oh, they
that was the third time.
Oh,
And
I
then
didn't know that.
then there was, they finished the basement. The basement had a wooden floor. The walls were plastered. They had a window well out the door, and then a tile that went out, and this was their drain. They poured all the water, the wash water, everything out this, and that was used when we
Even
were
in
there.
our day, right.
And there too. So the basement was really nice. They cooked here. See, they took away the little lean-to. It became the chicken house. And this went on. Then they brought the old folks, and then they had two nice bedrooms up above in this part, and then they connected the other bedrooms to it. And then later they decided, well, you went down into the basement from the east side, and when we were little, we did everything out on this covered
Old cellar door.
we call it the old cellar door, this covered cellar door, because it was all blocked off by then, but that's where we did everything. We washed our hair, we cleaned the chickens.
Made
we sat
horseradish.
there for a minute,
Made horseradish.
and all these things on this old cellar door, and if you look down inside, you could see the steps going down to it. When you were in the basement, you could see the door that had been bricked in again, where it used to be. And I don't know how many years, but then they decided they wanted something better. And so they added on the dining room and the big porch, which that included what you knew as the kitchen too. It was just a big porch on the east. And then then there was the stairs that went upstairs, and they added a bedroom onto the north, and then that little curly Q, you turned and then you turned and went up into the old part again. And that's how the house became to be built the way it was when we lived in it. So it had been put together in 3 units.
And it was that way when the folks moved in. wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Except for the kitchen.
Kitchen, I was
Kitchen,
gonna say,
yeah. Because when we have pictures of when Dewey was born, that, stop it.
Everybody's fine.
It's still going.
Keep going.
Still going.
We have pictures of when Dewey was born, that the porch was still all a porch. And sometime later, it was divided, and Mother got her little kitchen, which,
She always said it was a one-woman kitchen.
right. And,
Father would stand in the doorway.
and this was my father's aunt and two uncles. And since Dad was not a healthy boy when he was growing up, he had many health problems. He wasn't destined to be a farmer. So when Mother and him got married in 1918, February 17th, wasn't it? In 1918, why, they made an offer to
Uncle Adolph.
Uncle, thank you, Uncle Adolph and his two sisters to buy this because they wanted to retire and move to Florida. Now, by the way, Uncle Adolph did all of this carpenter work. He was a carpenter, and I'm sure he also helped build the church a mile north, because if you look at the church and Dewey Store, it had the same scallop sidings on it.
All of the same gingerbread.
Yes, so I'm sure Uncle Adolph helped build the church also.
And he built the home in Florida, too.
Yes, and then they moved down and built a huge two-story home with porches all around in Fort Myer, Florida. And I believe they had an acre of land down there, yeah, right in the Everglades. Fort Myers is at the Everglades. And we have a nice picture, I don't know if I got my album or not, of the house he built down there. And Dad and his brother and sister went down there once, so they did get to see it, where they
That's the
did.
only time I saw my mother and daddy kiss was the day he left to go to Florida.
Well, I
Agreed.
never did.
I never did. I did too. He kissed Mom goodbye.
That's right, he did, that's the only time.
I don't remember seeing that.
You're much younger than
Thank you.
So, and they bought then Dewey Store, and they got married one day, were gone one day, and I think they started being storekeepers down the next day after they were married.
So they had no honeymoon?
Yeah.
They didn't?
I. Didn't Mom say something about they went down to Grandma's and the roads were so bad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Just
just,
spend a day with her.
and then came back. Prior to their marriage, Mother had worked for her parents, and that's really how they got acquainted. And she took a trip one fall, the fall of 17, and went to Colorado to visit her aunt out there. And she was gone 6 weeks. And while she was gone, she got a proposal to get married. So when she came home, then she felt like she could not work for the Holste family anymore. So Aunt Ethel had taken her place while she was gone. And so Aunt Ethel,
Well, I didn't know Aunt Ethel worked for him.
she worked while Mother was gone.
Oh, I
And then Aunt Emma.
Yeah, I knew Aunt Emma worked for him.
And Emma started. Ethel didn't want the job permanent.
Oh, I see.
And
Ethel was like me. Like me.
Aunt Ethel took over then, or Aunt Emma took over Ethel's job.
I see.
she worked then for him until she came to work for the folks later.
I remember Mom telling when she worked there, they had a horse named Belva. And then after she, after she came, they changed the horse's name to Belle.
I didn't know that one.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, so I heard Mom say that.
Okay. So here we are, the folks are married and they are storekeepers at the restore now. I would like to say that Dad did have some preparation for running a store because he after he graduated from 8th grade, he went to Cedar Rapids and attended a school of business in Cedar Rapids. And it was a 2-year college course that he took there. And this prepared him for business because he had a good mathematical mind.
He did.
And so that he did have some preparation for running the store. So Herb and Belvy sold everything at their store, from groceries to gasoline, hardware and dry goods, and
Shoes.
There's a mini mall.
that's dry goods, and bought cream and eggs and poultry from their customers. And it was in its day what you'd call a mini shopping mall or a 7-Eleven store. It was a service station, and it was also an entertainment center because people came to visit and they would sit in the evenings and visit after they bought their groceries and brought their cream and eggs to be sold.
And he
Brought their
brought
kids, and we played with their kids, and
Daddy bought furs too.
I don't remember
Oh,
that.
yes, he did. I remember he salting them and everything, opening them up and salt all of them so they'd keep and, yeah.
Which I didn't know. Oh, and then, in 1926, someone came up from the town of Mount Etna, 5 miles south, and wanted him to take over the store in Mount Etna. And so in 1926, he bought the store, not the building, just the building belonged to the IOOF, Oddfellows. So he just bought the business. And he ran that until, help me out here, girls.
33.
He bought it, he bought it in 26, and Bill Stearns ran the store for him. But in 1933, things weren't working out well, and so he started going to Mount Etna every day and to run the store at Mount Etna. And Mother then took over running the store at Dewey.
So she was ahead of her time. She was a working woman
Yes,
outside of the home,
that's right.
which sounds like Grandma to be cutting edge.
And Grandma took care of us.
Old Graham, we always called Mother's mother Old Graham, so that's how we'll refer to her, because she was Old Graham, Old Grandma Township. And her official job was to wash breakfast dishes, right?
Right,
I don't
that's what I
think-
got down.
We always had to do the rest of the dishes, but Grandma always washed the breakfast
And
dishes.
she was mad if anybody did them. And she was a, when people had babies, what do you call them?
A midwife.
A midwife.
She
She
was
was
a
a
midwife.
midwife, yes.
So she came and went
Yeah, that's right, she did.
in her, in our early years. She came and went helping other people,
That's right.
but she always ended up back at our house, that is where she died, was at Dewey. Where
Okay.
do we go from here?
What do you want to know?
Briefly, going around the table, Do you know how you each got your name?
I was named after a movie star, Norma
Here.
Shear, was it? Yeah. I don't know about the rest of these. Marjorie,
Why don't you say something else about you,
what about me?
what you feel
What I feel?
about yourself? I thought that would be neat to tell how you felt about yourself.
How did you like being the oldest daughter?
Well, I always kid, say I'm the old one, but don't bother me none. I don't even think about being the old one, really, only just from joking, you know. Usually when we're out, I always tell them I'm the old one.
Of the girls.
Yeah, of the girls, yeah. But I don't know.
I remember we always had the big girls, that was Norma and I, and we had the little girls, and
Yeah,
that was
that's right.
those two.
And the little big girl and the little girl.
They were
that's
just
right.
kind of a little, you know, little rivalry there, you
Yeah,
know, sibling rivalry, I guess, because
Yeah, but you know, I was thinking the other
nothing
day,
bad.
we never
you know.
did fight so much, did
No.
we? As girls.
Weren't allowed
Why
to.
not know?
Well, that's true too. That's true too.
Because I know where mother caught us one time of just kind of doing this, you know. And it was Norma and I that got the brunt of the punishment.
Sure.
And then
We were-
Bobby and Blondie, they went around on the north side of the house. Nya, 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 nya. They didn't get caught though.
That's true.
How did you get your name? I have no idea. I think she just took it out of a storybook or something.
Well, June,
Well, yeah, Marjorie June. I was born in June, like mother was born in June, and that's how I got my middle name. I know that, but I guess Marjorie went good with June. I don't know.
and
That's all I
mother's
know.
middle name was.
And mother's middle name was June,
June.
also.
Okay.
Heaven only
knows where they got my name.
Well, Mom knew a woman by the name of Eula.
Oh,
Uh-huh. But she spelled yours different. She spelled hers with an E at the end.
E-U-L.
But Mom wanted it just plain Eula, U-L-A, and then she put the Marie on there.
And you don't like your name, do you?
I like if they say the both names together,
Eula
Eula Marie.
Marie.
I like
I wonder
that.
where she got Marie.
I don't know. I don't know.
They don't,
But I was 10 days old before they named me.
You were.
And the doctor said, you gotta get a name on that child so I can turn this in. And Mom wanted to call me Jacqueline. That's what Mother told me. And Dad said, no, they'll call her Jackie.
Oh, boy.
So they picked Eula Marie. What do I go by? Blondie.
Blondie.
tell them why you didn't get named. Because you were,
They didn't think he was gonna live.
yeah, you were very sick.
Yeah, they thought I was gonna die. What was he gonna put on the tombstone? Girl?
What was
Daughter
wrong
of.
with her? What was wrong with her?
I couldn't go. It was a kidney problem.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
And she was, closed.
Closed, yeah. The skin had never been perforated.
I see.
So
Then Grandma said, this child's never had a wet diaper to the doctor after 3 days.
Oh, my gosh.
Then I broke out in boils, you know.
Yeah. Well,
From
They
the
carried me on a
infection.
pill from the infection.
Dr. Benquite is responsible for saving your life,
Right.
though.
Well, Grandma too, because Grandma said this
She's the
child
one that-
diagnosed it in the
Yeah, I
beginning.
know, but he's the one that finally
Yeah.
got it to come through.
Yeah. Yeah, they gave me something special to make me go.
Probably castor
Yes.
oil.
No, it wasn't that problem, Norma. Then after all that care and everything, she still thought she was adopted. Yeah.
My mom.
She broke out in blood boils, which I imagine she hurt, and they fixed her a pillow that, to carry her on. And that soft pillow lived with her till she was what?
No. Probably I took it when I got married, I think.
Probably you did. That soft pillow was her buddy. And what happened to you when you was 3?
Broke my leg.
Broke her leg.
How?
Fell off the swing. Fell off the swing about, what, that far?
Well,
You know,
what
was
fell?
the dog, was
Because
the
the
dog
dog
in
was
the- yeah.
pulling the swing.
Yeah,
Oh,
old
I-
Laddie,
oh,
Grandma's
yeah.
dog.
And it
Yeah.
wrapped around her leg.
That's right. She broke her leg.
An inch from the hip bone.
Then they put her in a crib in the living room and put a sack of salt, salt come in a cloth
It
bag.
was a 5-pound sack, I remember
Pink
that.
White said, this girl's not gonna limp. He's gonna keep that leg even.
That's right.
And it is, but the foot's an inch shorter, this way.
So you had a bad start. We have a picture of her when she was a year old, and she was a skinny thing, you know.
Horrid looking thing.
You know, because she had been through so much.
Okay, Bobby, give us your name.
Well, I was the big one. I was 10.5 pounds when I was born, and very healthy, and looked like a boy, and mother wanted the boy.
That's right.
And she was going to name that boy Robert Francis. So that's how I got my name, Roberta Francis, named after her two grandfathers.
And when we were little, she was called Bobby Frank.
And, well, that was Aunt Emma was working for us at the time. And also Red Johnson, a neighbor boy, he was helping out at the store and in the house. And they said, when she said she was going to call me Roberta Francis, they said, okay, we'll call her Bobby Frank. And it stuck. Even my mother called me that, except when she was mad at me. And then she called me Roberta Francis.
I didn't think she ever got mad at you. It was always me.
Oh, yes, boy, did I pout. I was a pouter when I was little. If things didn't go my way, I would pout. And I suppose I was spoiled. They all said I was.
Oh,
They all said I
Even
was.
Dad. She's the only one that could ever sit on Dad's lap that I ever saw.
I know,
Yeah.
but I was the only one that got a paddling every morning by him either.
Yeah, nah, what kind of bag?
It hurt. Dad could not do anything gently. When I came down in the morning, he was sitting on the stool in the kitchen waiting for Mother to cook breakfast. And he would grab me, and he couldn't kiss you or hug you or anything, but he would lay me across his lap and spank me. And that was his affection.
that was his love message.
He's
wasn't
of the old German.
it? Yeah.
Well, now we know that Aunt Blondie had some illnesses and a hard start here. Did the rest of you have something?
Oh, Jerry did.
The only problem I had was,
Scarlet fever.
well, yeah, it was later years I had scarlet fever. Well, we all got quarantined and stuff. But I wouldn't drink milk, you know, and Mother did everything. She made junket tablets with milk and kind of pudding and everything. And I hate milk to this day, so I won't drink milk. And I was always twisting my ankles, and I was a long time learning to walk because of this. And I think I was like 18 months old before I ever took a step.
Yeah, but how old were you when you were so sick and had surgery?
Well, oh yeah, then that was in, 36 as a result of scarlet fever. It had settled in my kidneys, and I was very sick. They thought I was going to die too, so.
Yeah.
You came close.
I
Within
came close.
24 hours.
Yeah.
If it would have broke.
If it had broken. So. But old Doc Jones in Atlantic, he said, they thought it was appendicitis because I had this high blood count of infection. And so they operated on for appendix, and Doc Jones said when I got in there, I knew it. Well, he said that was the nicest little pink appendix I ever saw. He knew that wasn't the problem. So then they went on from there, and then found out there was an abscess on my kidney. Lucky it was on the outside, not on the inside of the kidney. So then they operated again and got that, and I was in the hospital 6 weeks. And then when I came home, I had a tube in my back, and it drained infection out for another 2 months or so. And I missed a lot of school, high school stuff. So.
And she was so near dead that they couldn't give her anesthetic again. And they just froze it. And our father sat through that and held her hand.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, he did.
Well, didn't both of you have an illness when you got the radio? Did you tell me about that?
Well, we
Well,
were
that's when scarlet fever
they were
was
quarantined for scarlet fever.
Yeah, that's the first time
Over
we had
Christmas.
Over Christmas.
And we got our radio.
Listen to Mexican stations. I remember that.
Yeah. And we had a big yellow sign on the door, quarantine, I know that. And we wouldn't all come down at the same time. 2 weeks, and then the oven would take it, you know, and then 2 weeks,
And Julie was in there all this time and never did take it.
and he didn't like that at all. He was
Oh,
quarantined and didn't
With
even
us girls, oh, murder. And you know, Mom couldn't come in and see us, but she would sneak in once in a while.
This radio was a battery radio,
Yeah.
and I remember it well. It had a red heart in the middle of it, and it said Universal across it, and it was,
It was
a
our
good-
pride and joy, wasn't
It
it?
was a good.
It was a lifesaver, kept us from getting at each other's throats, I think.
And everyone that, I was the one that got taken to the doctor, and they pronounced it scarlet fever, and they quarantined us in. And then every one of them after that got it harder, and Jerry was the last one to have it, and she had it so hard, and that caused the abscess.
And I don't think Merlin ever got it.
No,
did
he never did. He was quarantined all that time.
Well, Mother figured maybe he was the first one to have it,
Oh, I
because,
see.
you know, it was so light. You were.
Just a
you
little
had it-
rash,
You
yeah.
had it before I did, and
Yeah.
you just had a little rash, and then I had a fever, so she took me to the doctor.
I know we went sleigh riding when we were quarantined, and somebody turned us in because we were
Out of the door.
out of the door.
We weren't supposed to go outside.
Well, getting back when Bobby was born, she was, 6 weeks old before she got downstairs, because we all had red measles.
Yes.
And she was upstairs, and they wouldn't bring her down because they didn't want her to get the measles.
That's right.
And then when does she get them? When she has a high school prom.
Yep. That's when I got it, and I didn't get to go to that.
Where'd you get it from? You didn't get it from them.
No.
You don't know.
You know.
Who knows?
When you go to school.
Yeah.
you just
I
get
was
it.
in high
Okay.
school, if it was going around. and
Oh,
I
what's
got it.
going around? Okay.
Okay, what do you want us to talk about next?
Well, do you got anything, Pat, specifically? You want to start with?
Well, do you have things to say? I mean,
Well, I was getting back to the store, how
Yeah,
we
okay.
candled eggs and we tested cream. Bobby learned how to test cream. She's the only one of us.
That's right.
But we all candled eggs because people, they'd find a nest of eggs, these old farmers, you know, and they'd bring them all in to sell. And we candled them, you know, and
would
then a
you
lot
tell,
of them were
tell
rotten
us what
eggs.
candling means? So,
Well, it had a can there with a light bulb in it, and then a hole just to fit an egg in there, and then you put the egg in there and turn it around, and if you see something black go around, you knew there was a little chicken in there.
Or a
something.
crack.
Or a crack.
And
And
you put those aside, and they took them home, you know, and then they would use the cracked
ones, they
you
could
know,
use them, yeah.
so they
Yeah.
could use them. So
I can remember though taking rotten eggs down to the creek too.
Yeah.
Boy, did they stink.
Oh, yeah, the rotten ones we didn't turn to.
No.
No, if
Uh-uh.
they had the little making of a chicken in it, you
took
threw
them down
it
to the
over
creek.
on the side. It was a smelly job.
I hated candling eggs, and I didn't mind.
Do you remember the time that Mom found the mouse in the cream?
Yeah.
And she said that they'd go home, take it home and feed it to the hogs, and they turned around and took it up to Messina and sold it.
Mom took the mouse out.
Yeah, well, yeah,
of
Mom took the
course.
mouse out, and she said, if you'll take it home and feed your hogs, she says, I'll let you have it. And they turned around, went to Messina and sold it. So,
Then if Mom, they would turn in a nice, good, clean, sweet-smelling cream. Mom would take it up to the house, and she had a great big, tall stone churn
Churn, yeah.
with a wooden
Down.
dump, and she would churn that, and then she would sell the butter, because they had these little they called them wooden boats, you know, little,
Yeah.
and she'd put a pound of butter in there, and then they would sell the butter then from this cream. And if it was good, sweet cream, Mom always had to have the best cream before she would churn it.
I'm sure
Uh-huh.
that they were clean too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now, how long did it take to churn that? Better.
It depends, like if the,
It had temperature.
Yeah.
Has a lot to do with
Yeah,
churning
okay.
cream.
if it was real cold, it took forever, but Mom would always like get it to
Room
room
temperature.
temperature, and then it wouldn't take too long to churn it. And then you had your buttermilk, and she had to wash it with water, and it was quite a job. But she
And the
always-
wooden molds that
and
made
those
a
little,
pound.
and then she had a little square mold, and then just a pound.
Churn was about that tall and about this big around the top. It got bigger in the middle and then that same size at the bottom, and it had that stick coming up through it with a cross piece down at the bottom, and you went this way, and that's
We'd get tired, we'd take turns churning butter. And then I remember grinding coffee, and we didn't have electricity, and I had a big old, and
I love to grind coffee. It
they
smells
sold
so good.
coffee beans, you know. Well, you're out of coffee beans, somebody wanted a pound of coffee. They got fresh ground coffee. We'd stand there and turn and turn and turn and grind the coffee till we got it all done. Then we got electricity. We had a motor on it, so that was good when we ground coffee that way.
I love to smell that fresh coffee. My son has it.
Oh, does he?
He had a little crack place in it, and he went to clean it out, and that piece of glass was down in there, and he glued it out.
Oh.
He even plugs it in. It's really cute.
Well,
But, yeah, oh, and I loved to eat coffee beans, and Mom would get on
yeah,
top of
we
that.
would. All of us
Oh.
chew coffee beans.
Even I ate coffee beans, but I wouldn't drink coffee.
And then talking about these wooden boats, Dad would get a big can, or I don't know how it came to in bulk, of peanut butter, and then we'd have to fill out a pound of peanut butter in these little wooden
Oh, yeah.
boats.
Everything
Oh,
came in the bulk.
Uh-huh.
I can remember we had a long counter of glass, and they had little compartments in them. And there would be the prunes in one, the dried apricots in one, the beans in one,
The dried cod.
all those
Oh,
dried products
The flake
were in
cod.
this,
Ah, I love
these-
that.
this glass cabinet. And you, if they wanted a pound or a half a pound or whatever they wanted, then you put it in a sack and weighed it and sold it to them that way. Everything was mostly in the bulk.
And even peanut butter. I remember dishing up peanut butter.
Coconut came in a can about this big around with a nice lid on it.
Cocoa came in big wooden barrels.
Uh-huh.
And if it got wormy, we got to have the big barrel of cocoa for our playhouse. And we made lots of cocoa cakes and whatnot in our playhouse with that big barrel of cocoa. And I remember in the store the string that came down, and somebody was always lighting the end of it. Mom would thought something was on fire.
What was the string for? I don't remember
Well,
that.
to tie packages in the
Oh,
store,
oh,
you
the-
know,
the
it was there,
string
come
up there,
down around
coming down.
there. And somebody would light the end of it, and, you know, just smolder.
Yeah.
And Mom would swear that, you know, that something was burning, and she'd have the awfulest time. And then it dawned on her that somebody lit the string on
They
fire.
remember those big glass jars of sweet pickles and dill
Oh,
pickles?
yeah.
Oh, they were big glass jars.
I got one at home.
Have
I
ya?
bought it to sale. And it it must have been what? It stands about that tall. And it was dill pickles in it. I remember dill pickles.
Uh-huh. They sold sweet pickles.
Yeah, we dish out dill pickles out.
And in these little wooden, Dad always called them wooden boats. That's, I don't know what the technical name was, but that's what it was called.
Yeah, but I got a big jug.
Bananas came in a great big stalk. It was a banana tree, I guess, what they
Stalk?
said.
Whole
It
thing, whole
was-
thing.
It was be
Whole
like
bunch.
this tall, and it would come in a wooden crate. It had wood around it at the top and bottom, and wooden boards coming up the side, and then it was lined with burlap. And this stalk of bananas was in that. And then in the store, we had a hook. He hooked onto the stump of the banana and a hook on the ceiling, and he'd raise it up
And a
to the
pulley.
top of the ceiling, you know, and hold it there, and so people could see what the bananas looked like. And
We had a knife that curved, and it would just reach up and just cut off a
Cut
piece,
off those-
a ham of bananas with that knife.
If they
Well, it was
wanna
a whole
hand-
bunch of bananas, like from the tree.
Yeah,
I'm sure it
yeah,
was.
it was a whole
tree.
tree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a whole
it
bunch.
was
And you
the
know what?
whole
Once in a
tree.
while there was a tarantula.
Tarantula.
One time we got a tarantula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
big,
That was big news when that tarantula
Yeah.
came out.
and then these cartons had to be returned. And so we usually, in some of the pictures that we have, you can see a banana crate laying outside of the Dewey store because they had to go back. All this came on the train to Messina, and then Dad had to take the truck to go to Messina and get all these fruit
Bobby always
products.
got to go along.
I wasn't in school
I
yet.
know. She'd go by school and wave at me, and I used to be so mad because she got to go down with Dad.
What was the name of the fruit company from Preston?
Lagamazzini.
Yeah, I couldn't
That's
think
right.
of that to write it down.
Lagamazzini, yeah.
Was
Fruit
the
company.
Fruit
From
Preston
Preston,
from
yeah,
Preston.
Preston, yeah.
And Tyler Brothers were the pop. They
That's
had
right.
pop. They
Coke.
Coke and other kinds. And they also came from Preston.
But Dad, one, the early time, he made his own pop.
Yeah, I
Well,
can remember
was
that.
Before Tyler
before,
Brothers,
yeah, before.
bottle
Yeah.
pop
Yeah.
was,
Because I remember that julep stuff we had.
and all the pop, of
Orange
course,
flavor
came in
and
glass
grape,
bottles.
cream soda.
Yeah.
My dad told me I got a Creston bottle at home that's antique, you know. And my dad saw it and he said, well, that's the way pop got its name. It had a rubber plug in it.
Oh.
And it would come and he said when you pulled it out, it went pop. And he said that's the way pop got its name.
Anything. Oh, I didn't know that.
Carbonation,
You know. Pull it out. I remember Dad would always Sunday morning would always go to church. But after church, Sunday and all, he had to go to Mount Etna to the store. But he was always home for about 1 o'clock dinner on Sunday. We always held dinner till 1 o'clock for Dad. He'd be home by 1 o'clock for dinner on Sunday.
Well, you talked about, you wanted us to talk about a typical day. Well, Dad used, after he started going to Mount Etna, he left about 9 o'clock. And he didn't come home till
11.
9, 10, 11, depended on when the customers left, at what time he came home at night. And he did this 6 days a week. And on Sunday, he went then from 9 until,
Probably
Till-
noon or shortly, yeah.
because he didn't get home till 1 o'clock. So these were long working days.
How far was Mount Etna from?
5 miles.
5 miles, okay.
We had a dog named Bonzo. We used to sit out on the front porch that faced the road in those days. And we'd sit out there on an evening, a nice evening, waiting for Dad to come home. And old Bonzo would lay there and the cars would come over Uncle Art's hill and come over, and Bonzo would just lay there. Pretty soon he'd get up and start barking and the next car over the hill would be Dad. He knew the sound of Dad's old pickup. That always amused
Hey,
me.
Robbie, now I know the store was in the house.
Yes.
When did it move across the road?
Well, and the highway department was giving the folks a hard time because the store was on the right of way. And they were thinking about doing something to the road because it was dirt. And so they had to think about doing something else. And in 1941, they took the what we called the warehouse, which was built after the creamery burned. We didn't go into that.
Well, you know, we should tell about the creamery.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, there was a creamery, a wooden creamery building there. And if you know anything about cream, it's very greasy. And this wooden building was,
It was across the road from the house.
yes, it was used, and they separated the cream and they gave the milk back to the customer and they sold the cream. They took the cream to Messina and it went on a train down to Creston to be made into butter and stuff. So the creamery had closed, and so when the folks bought the store, they got this wooden creamery also, and they were using it for a warehouse. And then in 26, because I was a year old, it caught on fire one night.
Do they know what caused the fire?
Never did know.
It caught on fire, and being greasy, and wooden, it just really went up in smoke. And the front bay window of the house at Dewey cracked that night from the heat. And
They poured the water on the house. They
Well-
didn't try to save the.
they had a fire brigade on the roof, and they got water up by fire brigade and kept the roof of the storehouse wet
Burning.
so that it wouldn't burn that night. And they did save that. All of us
We
kids-
were all evacuated
all
to
of
the
us
neighborhood.
kids were sent across the road west to stay with grandpas. be in his house to get
We
away.
sat there and watched them.
Because they weren't sure whether they was going to
I
save
remember
the house.
I do too.
And all the damage was the crack in the dish window.
It was a cold January day, I
I
remember
think
that.
they were very lucky they saved the house. They really were.
Back in those days,
Yeah,
it was hard to
that's
find
true.
one.
Yeah.
So they had to replace this building, and they replaced it with a tile building. And then they decided that they could use this tile building for the store and take the store out of the house. So they raised it up 3 feet, and then they raised the roof 3 feet, and then they put tile in and put a floor in, raised the floor. It had I don't know, part of it was cement, but not all of it,
I don't remember.
of the old,
Creamery.
so they raised the floor up then and put a wooden floor in, and they started in 1941 to do this.
And then they had to cut the end of the store off. And-
Yes, but that was done later.
Yeah, but then.
But we did move the store then in 1941, I think,
Mhm.
or was it 40?
I think in,
Well, we had a dance down there before we moved the
Yeah,
store
that's
down
true, they
there
did, they had-
in the building
yeah.
to celebrate, I guess. And it's got something to do with Walt.
Yeah, that's really how I met Walt, was
Yeah,
there.
at the dance.
At the dance. So he wouldn't dance, but he slept on the Davenport upstairs, up the house. And then he got up nerve enough to ask me to go to the movies the next day. But it must have been 41.
Yeah, well, that's what it,
Mhm.
I got pictures and I got, it says.
That's the year I
Yeah.
graduated from high school.
Yes.
41. I remember the dance, yeah.
Let's tell them about having movies down in the hallway.
So,
No.
well, shall we finish this?
Oh, yeah,
story?
go ahead, yeah.
So we moved the store down there, and then later, they cut 20 feet off of what was the store that was on the road right away, and they just took the end of that and just moved it back and then fastened it on, which was quite
What
a
a
doing.
deal.
Quite a doing. And then, after that was done, they made a bedroom downstairs. Before that, we had no bedroom downstairs. So they had made a bedroom and put in waterworks.
In the back.
And they had a bathroom. But this was after I was married.
Yeah,
left
long
home.
after I was
So
married.
we had no
We were all
water.
gone.
But you know what got me down
In the
was
house.
when Bobby was born, Mom had Bobby in the bedroom right next to where we slept, and we didn't know a cotton picking thing that was going on.
No, I heard a baby cry,
Oh,
and I
did
thought
you?
Mom was just keeping the neighbor's kids. You know, so that's how naive we
You know,
were.
we didn't have dawn on us that she was in there having a baby.
Didn't dawn on us she was pregnant. even.
Yeah.
Life was simple then.
That's how deep back.
Well, I know when I got married, the first time Tom got mad at me, I thought our marriage was over because our mother and father never had words. Never.
That we heard.
Well, that's
There
true.
you go.
There you
Well,
go.
Mom always said it was always at night when they were in bed, you know, they done, but
Well, I heard them arguing one time
Oh,
down
did you?
in the creamery.
Oh, well,
down,
good for you.
Down there. And I almost was paranoid because I knew
This going
they were going to get a divorce.
Because I heard them argue.
And they probably had many arguments, but I heard it. And I just, I worried for days after that.
yeah.
Our Graham lived with us, for a long time, and people would razz Dad and say, "Well, how do you get along with your mother-in-law?" And he'd say, "Well, I get along with her better than I do my wife."
Oh, shit. Life was good fun, wasn't it, girls?
Yeah, I guess looking back, it was a lot of fun.
Do you have anything else to say, Marjorie? Because I don't want to leave anything out.
Oh no, I think I've got
We had lots of
This
fun
stuff.
with kids that
I
came,
got
we just
fun.
had barrels of fun.
yeah. Well,
I remember when Grover Dodge forgot his boy. He went home because Farrell was asleep back in the house.
And Grover was a good one to
Oh, he stayed till 11
converse,
o'clock.
and
Oh,
he
yeah,
always
was the
stayed
last
till the last
one.
one, and he liked to talk and visit and visit and visit.
And our house was not private.
That's
And
right.
if anybody came to the store and there was nobody in the store, they
They
just
just
kept
go off.
coming back until they got back to where somebody was.
They wouldn't even wait on you to get out there. They just come right
I
on.
remember one time Mom really reprimanded me because we were doing supper dishes and I was standing there drying a skillet with a dish towel. And a neighbor lady, she'd come to do groceries or something, and she just came back into the house and she's standing there in the kitchen. She says, wiping the skillet with that good, clean, white towel? She said, I use an old rag. And I said, well, we wash our dishes clean. And Mother heard me say that, and I was not supposed to be sassy to anyone. You know.
I thought you were always out at the back door when the dishes were to do.
Well, this is one time I had to do it. I hated dishes.
I know.
We took turns
That's right.
washing dishes, the little
Yeah.
girls and the big girls.
And
I
then-
think they should have divided it there. There should have been a little girl and a big girl, but there wasn't.
And if the dishwater got too greasy and Mom caught it, we done them over.
So how did Marjorie get out of doing dishes? Or what? I thought
It was always a joke that she always had to go to the bathroom.
I always had to go to the outhouse or something.
Oh, I wanted to shoot that.
Well, Marjorie, do you remember you stealing candy bars? I told you to.
Yeah. I think I got that down here.
This was a no-no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We never got candy. Only
No.
Mom would,
Take
after
out
we
the
ate dinner,
store.
she would bring in a candy bar and
We weren't allowed to take anything
That's
out
right.
of the store.
Nothing out of the
right.
store.
And we weren't allowed to be out there unless we were working.
That's right. And I loved to go when the cookie guy came because we always got samples. Boy, if we got caught, we got chased out.
But we always had to be, you couldn't go out there, we always had to be clean. Our dress had to
Oh,
be
yeah.
starched, and if we went to the store, we really had to be presentable.
Yeah.
And
And you never repeated anything you heard.
That's right.
That was pounded into us from day one.
And we said, yes, sir.
yeah, I took candy bars. Norma, she egged me on. You remember what kind they were?
Hershey.
Flat Hershey
That's
bars. I
right.
remember that yet. And how Mom found it out on this west end of the porch. There was kind of a little alcove between the storm door and mother door. And back in this corner is where we'd always go to eat these. And of course, I was dumb. I just left the wrappers there.
Well,
And Mother found them. So she investigated who was taking the candy bars.
I liked coconut.
You like,
And coconut came in this round tin can like this, and I could get the lid on it. And I would take
A pinch.
a pinch of coconut, that lid back on. And gum. Gum was my failure. I liked gum.
oranges.
And I would take a piece of gum once in a while if I found someone loose in the gum case and I could reach it. I didn't steal the oranges.
No, no, no.
I always asked my mother if I could have an orange, and my grandpa, Holste, would peel it for me. And we got along fine until Grandpa died. And then we had a neighbor man whose hands weren't clean.
He was an old bachelor.
He's an old bachelor. And Mike, he liked me, and I liked oranges. And so I would ask Mom if I could have an orange, and then I would take it to Mike, and he would peel it, and I ate it. And I think that's probably where I got worms. Because I had worms when I was about 10 years old. So that must have been where they came from. I had a problem with that.
Well, when Bobby was a baby, we lost her. Couldn't find her. How old were you?
Well, by the picture, and those pictures are lost, I must have been 18 months old.
Yeah. Anyway, we hunted and hunted for her, and here she was. Found her in the cabinet in the store
where the blankets were for sale, laying in there in this cabinet on top of the blankets, sound asleep. They were cases, and they had sliding doors, and must have left a door open.
Yeah, I must
And they
have
had-
crawled out there.
And they had glass on the front you could see in.
Yeah.
And Mom took a picture of her, and now the picture's lost.
Some of those pictures
Oh,
got
where
gone.
would they have gone?
Well, they're probably in the long
Well, I
closet where
suppose.
they got wet.
I
There was a
suppose.
lot
But
of
Mom went
things
and
disappeared.
took a camera. Mom was always taking pictures. That's one thing she had was the camera, and she was always taking pictures. And
Remember when Mr. Kirkman cut his finger and Mom was fixing it? And Blondie, she fainted.
oh,
And Red and, I don't know, they took
And
her
Emma.
around, took him around to the well and pumped water.
held me under the pump. I thought he was going to drown me. They brought me to all right.
She passed out while Mama was wrapping Mr. Kirkman's finger. He was working up in the field, you know, up north.
They held me right under
Yeah.
the pump.
Well, they brought you too.
So after that, she could never watch Mom kill chickens. No. For a long time, I couldn't see blood, I'll tell you.
Well, Mom was kind of a nurse.
She was.
She does.
Uh-huh.
Anybody,
Got
any
hurt.
close around
That's
got
right.
hurt, they came
Yeah,
to
her mom,
mother
that's
for
right.
help.
Yeah, that's true. She did. She helped people. And I remember that because Blondie fainted.
Oh, I remember them pumping water on me. I don't know how old I was.
We had a lot of hired hands in our house too.
Yeah, one time they'd set the table for 10 people every meal because Dad had help and Mom had help. And Mom usually, well, before old Graham came, we always had somebody in the kitchen, cooking and
Yeah.
it took a lot of washing for 4 girls, you know, with dresses and they had to be changed. And
I think Aunt Emma probably did that, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
She
She came
she
to
worked.
work.
She worked until she got married,
Uh-huh.
which was 1928, I think.
we should talk about our brother.
Yeah, we got to talk about Morton. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
He was king of the mountain.
That's
We were his subjects. We waited on him hand and hand. I don't know what did he do. He was never with us.
He was his mother's pride and joy.
That's
Yes.
right. And he'd lay on the couch and
Shining
we'd move
star.
him and he'd go down to the store and he'd say, "Oh, that's she-bang up there." And
I think he had life
He
easier
did.
than us poor girls.
And you know,
did.
I can't remember Dad making him do anything. Now, Mom made us girls work. We waxed floors and done everything.
Well, when he got old enough for driver's license, he did drive the truck.
Oh, did he? I don't
Yeah,
remember
Because I
that.
remember going to Messina
Uh-huh.
Oh.
after hardware at the depot with Brother Dewey.
Doing driving the
Yes,
truck.
and this one day, when we got home, we were lacking a keg of nails. Nails came in a keg,
Keg,
I
keg.
suppose this big, and this big at the top, and wooden. And they were heavy. And when we got back down to Dewey, we were lacking a keg of nails. Well, Dad says, "You go find them." So we went and we got clear to Messina and we hadn't found it yet. We got down to the depot and we had turned around, I suppose. He hadn't turned around the way he should.
Too fast.
He threw that keg of nails out. So we picked up the keg of nails and went
They didn't
back.
break open or anything?
No,
Oh, golly, no, they were really
They were
sealed.
really-
They were hard to open Hard up. bands and stuff around them.
I can remember doing that, going up there with him.
Uh-huh.
I remember I thought, going, it's a long ways to Messina, but when we turned around and went back and after that, it was never so far to Messina. Wasn't that weird?
Well, I remember doing these Indian outfit, you know. We had a grove of trees north of the house, a big
yeah.
grove of trees, you know, of maple trees back in those days. And Dewey had an Indian outfit, all authentic, oh boy.
And we have many pictures.
And he had a teepee, we had a teepee out
And he
there.
would have the, you know, 2 forky things with him.
Yeah. We
One
played
across.
there. We were his squaws.
Yeah, we had to carry the water. We had to,
Well, that's true.
I can't remember my brother working.
No.
I remember drowning out the ground squirrel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he'd watch the hole, but we carried the water.
From the creek. Us girls
Did we ever?
But he says, I'll watch the hole.
Because they had 2 holes. And we'd go down the creek and bring the water up there more than one, and he'd lay there.
Well, he had to lay there with the string around the hole. He had a hold of the string, so when they'd come up, he'd pull it and he'd get the granny.
I don't ever remember catching one.
I don't either. We never caught one. But we carried water for him.
I think we did.
Oh, that's, I'll tell you.
Was it you and Dewey that got in the quicksand?
Yeah, we got into the quicksand.
Was that Blondie? I remember Blondie losing her overshoes
Yeah,
in quicksand.
yeah.
We was always down on that creek.
And they jerked me out, and my shoes just went
Yeah.
like that. They were gone.
Yeah, never found the overshoes.
Oh, boy, I was scared.
Yeah. I'm glad you come out of your overshoes. Good thing you didn't have them fastened too good.
Well, I know Merlin and I, we would go someplace. If he'd walk ahead of me, I'd stop. I'd get mad, you know, because he was getting ahead of me. And so one day I was mad. We come back to the house, and he said to Mom, he says, Norma just gets mad, and she says, she sticks out her tongue at me. And Mom got on me, and I said, I was just licking my lips, Mother.
That's the worst we could do. Stick out her
Well, and one time, you know, too, Red Johnson was out. You know, he always teased me about my red hair. Red Johnson. Oh, he was unmerciful.
He had red hair also.
I know, yeah. And so I don't know why, but he was teasing me about my red hair, and the whole store full of people. It was out in the store. And I said, well, I wouldn't have red hair if you didn't work here. And boy, Merlin was there, and he took me back in the back room, and he told my mother what I said. Now Merlin, I guess he understood. You know, I didn't realize what I was saying. I just said, if you hadn't worked here, I wouldn't have had red hair. But you know what? That shut up Red. He never talked again about my red hair.
Oh, bet it did.
I remember Grandma telling that story and about how, well, he deserved what he got. You know, she said at the time she wasn't even upset. He deserved it.
Well, our brother grew up and went to the army. When he lied, said he was 18 and he was only 17, and got in the army for how many years? 22 years.
22 years, I believe, he was in the Army career. Prior to that, he had 3 years of high school, and he started his 4th year, and he got in trouble with the teacher, and he wouldn't go back. So he went to the service.
He had a lot of friends, and they always would stay over at night. We would be told to go up and get Dewey for breakfast.
or
ne-
church.
And we never knew how many heads we'd see in that bed. Sometimes there was 3,
And they were all curly.
and they were all curly hair, just like Dewey.
Especially Ralph
And,
Clinton.
and Ralph Clinton was just identical to Dewey's, and we never knew what head was Dewey's.
We never knew how many for breakfast either.
No, our
We
house
always had
was-
friends coming home staying overnight.
I don't know how my mother really did it because there was always extra people at the table, but we always had plenty to eat. I will say that. I remember when we were cleaning out, I was cleaning out the kitchen, was having a sale, and Orville, he was in there, and he said, boy, he said, mighty good meals come out of here.
I remember coming home from dance, and I don't know who, this one guy we called Pinky, and I don't know who else was there, but along about 1 o'clock in the morning, we was making grilled cheese sandwiches and serving people. You know,
Yeah. Somebody was hungry.
I remember Graham, she always see the drive east, and her bedroom was right up above there. She says, oh, I could tell a lot of tales about these girls coming home with their boyfriends.
Remember that Brittenall that would come at 1 in the morning and call Dad? Ike was it? Yeah. And say,
Stand on the
Herb,
sidewalk.
Herb, I want a can of sardines.
I need a can of sardines.
He was drinking.
Dad got up
Yeah.
and gave him the
Dad
can
would
of
get
sardines.
up, bless him. I tell you, our dad was the most.
Accommodating person.
That's
generous.
right. If he had more patience than I was times. Instead of telling that guy to get lost, he'd get up and put clothes on, go down and get his sardines.
There's a can of sardines.
Then Dewey had the girlfriend Mickey, and yeah, she was at our house more than she was at her own.
She lived with
Well,
us.
she lived here.
Yeah, and especially
Oh,
after
don't
Dewey.
say she lived with
Well, live
I
with
said,
us.
live with us, I said. No, I didn't
See,
say
he was in the service, and lots of times
Oh,
he was overseas or something.
You know our mother, she never put
Well,
up with
that's what I
that.
was gonna say. Don't
She
say
lived with
that,
us. I
Stacy.
She lived with us.
He lived with us.
Yeah.
And
No.
I remember one night we were getting supper, and we were having salmon.
Oh,
This can of salmon, and Norma, she opened it up. Nikki, she took it and she put it in the dish and she chopped it all up. Norma said, "Oh my, Mom don't like it that way." So, what do? We bury it in the backyard and go to the store and get another can.
oh.
We had respect for our mother.
That's right.
We said, "Oh," Norma said, "Oh, Mom don't want it. She doesn't want it chopped up like that. She'd like it laid whole in the dish." So we just go get another can.
I think we ought to talk about Dewey before he went to the Army. There were many young men in our neighborhood, and it was Depression time. It was in the 30s, and you know what was going on around the country in Chicago and all those places. And there was, I would say, 10 boys within
Oh, yeah, anyway,
a 4 mile.
Oh, yeah.
The DeBoer boys, the Simmons boys, the
Holste boys,
and all
Waterses,
that,
the Clintons.
and all of those. And they were always getting together looking for trouble, entertainment, we'll put it that way. They were looking for entertainment. And they got to be known as the Dewey Outlaws.
They were the next thing to it.
They drank,
And you know, I
Lived
think
the high
that's,
life, didn't they?
that's the reason Dad and Merlin never got along the best
Yeah.
in the world,
Yes.
was on account of that.
And Dewey, he was right with the crowd.
Oh, sure. The best thing he ever done was join the Army.
Yeah.
Dad never allowed him to have a car, because a car was something that we almost, nobody had. But we furnished, of course, we had the gas pump. So we furnished the gas
For other boys' car.
for other boys' cars. Joe Clinton was the one who usually had the
Yeah.
car.
Joe was his favorite. I think.
Yeah, he was his
Joe,
really
yeah, they were-
buddy,
Yep.
was Joe.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't do anything really bad, did I?
Nothing
Oh,
that got
no.
involved
No.
in trouble.
They were harder on themselves, but
Yeah,
drinking,
okay.
carousing
They
around.
drank, went to dances, you know, and just, but, you know,
Yeah.
they were from Newark, you know, they get out of their territory ways, you know,
We
and
had,
they were just known as the Dewey Outlaws.
and they had a lot of house dances, different people had
Yeah.
a dance in their house.
I remember about every winter, every
Yeah.
Friday night, there'd be a dance at
Dance
somebody's house.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it was-
Including ours.
And I don't know who played the music, but there was some,
I don't
Be a fiddle and the violin, or the
Yeah.
violin.
but I don't know who they were, I
banjo
don't
or
remember.
But I remember at these dances, whenever they played the waltz, Dad would always come and get Mom, because they
They
liked to
always
waltz together. They'd always, every time there was a waltz play, Dad would always come and get
I
Mom.
was too young, I never got to go, I had to stay home with old Graham.
Well, you missed a lot of time.
Well, you even missed the tent shows across the road too. You
Well,
know,
I
we
know.
had those when we were young.
Thank heaven she did.
Blondie has an experience of those.
Yeah, Blondie, tell your experience with a tent.
What were the
Well,
ten shows?
all these Toby shows,
Yeah.
Toby and, was it Toby and Sue or Toby and?
What
We
were they?
always went around giving tent shows, and they were just little comedy shows, you know. It's supposed to be comedy. Well, this time they were across the store on Norval's flat right there, or
In a pasture.
Grandpa's flat at the time, wasn't it? And they put this big tent up, and then they'd have these shows. Well, Aunt Emma took me with her to the show. Well, I suppose she took all you too.
Well, yeah, I
You know, we all
remember
went
that.
probably. Anyway, in this show they were putting on, they were cutting off a man's leg. And you know, they had the ketchup running and everything like that. And I was so young, you know, I thought it was real. And it just left such a horror in my mind that to this day, that this is the worst thing I can
Maybe that's why you
Think of-
faint at the sight of blood.
Could be. I was just screaming. Nan Em had to take me home. I know that because it was just such a horrific
It did look real, I can remember.
experience to me that I never did really get that out of my mind. To me, if they cut my leg off today, I think I'd die. It's that fear that's in me. It's
How about-
terrible.
About losing leg, when you broke your leg, I remember that Mom called Dr. Pinkwhite and he was coming out, And Norma and Dewey, they went out in the yard and they just played like nothing happened. And I sat in that house and I worried. Because I knew when Doc come, they was gonna cut Blondie's leg off because she broke it. I just thought there was no hope. And I couldn't understand why Norma and Dewey could go out there and play when Blondie was gonna lose her leg. That's how naive we were.
Or though, golly, we were so protected.
We were.
Weren't we?
Well, we never went anywhere.
No.
Our entertainment came to us. You know.
We did the entertainment.
Or we entertained.
I remember on the Ice House, they came and had a big circus sign, and they gave Dad free tickets to go to Creston to see the circus. And we were gonna go. And that was the day the men came to, the gas station used to be up by the old store.
Yes.
And that's the day they came, they was gonna move it down below. And I just knew that we wouldn't get to go to the circus, because Dad has to stay home with that gas stuff. But
we did,
But
'cause
we
I
did
remember.
go,
We
yeah.
did,
we
yeah, we
went.
did go.
I don't know, remembering, I thought, we'll never get to go.
We weren't old enough.
Oh, we weren't old enough.
Because
We were too
on
little to
the
go.
Ice House, that's something I want to talk about, the Ice House too.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Ice House was a community company thing. And at the beginning, it sat across the road from the store on the west. And the community, they made the ice, and they were able to get their ice for, free, because they helped put it up and everything. And then things come along, and they had ice refrigerators, the refrigerators.
Electricity,
They
old
took
ice
a
boxes.
cube of ice in them, 50 pounds of ice or whatever it would hold. And so later on, this wasn't working out, so Dad took over the ice house, and we moved it from on somebody else's property to over onto our property, clear to the east. So the old ice house sat on the east. And Dad also had to make ice twice. He had to make ice for Dewey, and he had to make ice for Mount Etna. So, and they did this in February when the ice was always the thickest. And usually it was usually 24 inches, deep. And they cut these with a buzz saw. They cut these chunks of ice, and then they'd float them, pull them up a rack. It was very dangerous work.
That's right.
And then they brought it to the ice house and put sawdust in between the layers so it would keep all summer. And this is how they had ice in the old days.
And it kept too in that sawdust all summer long.
Now, did the ice come from the creek?
And previously, they dammed up the creek.
Yeah, they dammed it up. Yeah.
And made a,
Uncle Alfred's pond
Yeah.
over on the 40, where we played baseball.
Yeah, that's
We'd
right.
skate there,
And we
have
skate in the
bonfires
wintertime.
and that,
Yeah.
until Dad cut ice, and then
The wonderful skates you strap to your shoes. I could never do it.
Now, the 40, is that the original homestead?
No, the 40 was, it was east of Dewey, a half a mile.
On
And
the
that-
north
it
side
was
of
a
the
40 acres that Uncle Alfred Holste owned. And there was a pond on it. They built the pond for ice, is what it was built.
dammed up the creek for the ice.
And made this
That
pond.
was a big thing in the
And
winter.
so we ice skated there, and we,
Summertime, we played kickball.
on
baseball there.
Baseball.
Yeah, or whatever.
It was
They called it
kickball or
kickball.
There was they had a net up, for everything.
Stop.
It was so many boys in the community, they had big baseball games.
had tournaments and played other people.
So on a summer evening, you walked half a mile east and went to the ball game.
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
And that was the biggest day in the ice house. Dad was spending Sundays in the ice house getting ice for people to make ice cream on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. That's when they
And
wanted.
woe be us kids if we played in there and left the ice open.
Yeah, doors open. And leave any
Well,
ice, be sure all the
Yeah.
sawdust
We'd
was
scoot our
on.
bare feet down till we got on the
On
ice.
a
you know.
hot summer's
Oh,
day,
it
it
was
was
so
beautiful
cool
in
in
there.
there.
You just
Nice.
go lay down with your bare feet in this wet sawdust. It was cool.
Boy, if we left it uncovered, we were in trouble.
or the door unlocked, or, unlatched. Leave the hot air in.
In Mount Etna, Dad had a great big insulated refrigerator. It must have been about 8 feet square, and it was walled up like a little building in there, and it was well insulated. And it up above was where the ice went. So
Goes
he
cool
had
down.
to lift that chunks of ice and put them up above in this refrigerator, this big box. And then he bought like a half a beef and a half a hog, and it hung in here. And then he would go in and cut people meat off of this. And this is why he had to have ice, was for
But we had
that.
fresh meat at the store at home.
No electricity.
Yep.
Well, they had a compressor.
Yeah.
Do you remember? We had
Yeah,
a meat
with
counter
big
at Dairies,
batteries. Yeah.
and it had a compressor in it that was run by batteries because it didn't run off of the.
Well, yeah, we
Well,
had that.
our lights and all that was by
With
battery.
Delco, we always had electric lights
Yeah.
from that
Yeah.
Delco.
Do you
Yeah.
suppose
They
it
were-
ran this?
Yeah,
this
Oh, yeah, I
compressor?
think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it run constantly.
They were 32 volts, I remember that.
And it was a meat counter,
Yeah.
and then don't you think Dad brought the meat up from Mount
Probably-
Etna
probably
and
did,
put
yeah, I
in
imagine,
this to keep it? Because I know later, when he got electricity in Mount Etna, he took it down there, and he bought Mom the big coolerator,
Yeah.
and it just used to come. It must have been this long. It was a big
Big one.
refrigerator, or an ice box, and.
It held a big cake of ice.
And it held, yeah, like 50 tons of ice or more up there. And then that's what we had after that. Early days, we had ice cream at Dewey, but we had to pack it. It came in steel cylinders, about that big around, and came from Creston, and they were tall. And
Hardly
we
reached the
had
bottom.
a box, an insulated box that had a lid on it. And you put the 2 cans of ice cream in there, and then you packed it just like when you make ice cream, with salt and ice. And so that was a chore that had to be done twice a day, as long as you had ice cream to sell. But later on, they quit selling ice cream at Dewey. And for a long time, we didn't have ice cream at Dewey. Then Dad got an ice cream, electric one, when he got electricity for Mount Etna, but he didn't get one for Dewey. Money was the
Yeah.
problem. And so, on summer nights, when Dad had ice cream in Mount Etna, summer nights, we would wait up to see if Dad was going to bring home an ice cream treat. And every once in a while, he did.
Do you remember like Mom can remember sliced bread coming into the store?
Oh,
No, I don't know what year it was.
I don't know
But
either.
I don't remember when it came. Colonial.
Colonial, just lately, they're having a controversy about the great big Colonial is good bread sign in Des Moines. Have you read anything
No,
about that?
Yeah, it's been in the registry, yeah.
It's been there ever
Oh.
since way back when. And the folks, the first bread I remember we
Yeah.
have
That's all we ever
was
had.
Colonial.
Colonial bread.
My dad wouldn't eat anything else.
That's right.
And the bread man came down the road about 4 in the morning, and he left a box of fresh bread out on the west step of the of the store. And then he came back that day about 2 o'clock, and he picked up yesterday's old bread, and then went on, and then the next morning,
Fresh bread?
fresh bread on the step again. And every day he picked up the day-old bread.
Yeah,
If
that
there
sliced
was
bread, that was really a big
Yeah.
thing, having sliced bread.
I don't remember what it cost.
I don't either.
I was gonna ask if you remember the price of any items.
Well, I think
Gas,
bread was
anything?
10 cents a loaf. Don't you?
Well,
Seems to me
either
like
that or
for some-
5.
I know I sold Minnie a gallon of gas, 5 gallon of gas for $1. I remember that, pumping, back and forth like this and filling the tank and 5 gallon, Dad sold it 5 gallon for $1.
They had a lever on the side that you pumped,
Yeah.
and you had to pump that gas and
Watch the
into
gas go
that
up.
height.
It was in a glass thing.
Yeah,
Pump it up.
and it had the
and put it in.
gallons
Yeah.
measured on it.
And we sold it 5
And
gallons
so
for $1.
every time you sold some gas, you had to pump it back up so it'd be ready for the next guy, because he didn't want to wait for you to pump it up.
I mean, candy bars were always a nickel.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes 3 for a dime for a special,
Oh, yeah.
And then gum was just that
5
cheap,
cents.
5 cents.
You girls don't remember this, but maybe it was because I was privileged. But when the candy man came or the cookie man came, I was always Johnny on the spot to taste things.
So Norma for cookies, yeah, but I don't
He
remember.
would-
I don't remember
He would hand out
Yeah, but Mom didn't
You know,
like to have
'cause
us be out there.
a
though.
kid hanging around. Why, I suppose he couldn't resist letting us sample them. So I always made sure I was around.
Well, I did too, but Mom
when the
many a
candy-
time kicked me.
Oh,
we
yeah, I
get
can see that.
I'm supposed to be in there.
I only remember the pot man coming because he teased me all the time about my white hair.
Yeah.
Oh, your hair's as white as that house, huh? And then I'd get mad because
Maybe
it really was that
It
white.
was that
Yeah,
one.
maybe that's why you got Blondie.
Yeah.
He probably called you Blondie.
No, called me Whitey, I think. I don't.
Don't you think she was named Blondie after the Blondie series?
Cartoon?
I wasn't
came
called
out?
Blondie until I went to high school.
I'm gonna ask you girls, why did they call me Swede?
Heavens.
Red
Red
hair.
hair. Oh, red hair.
Do Swedes have red hair? I
Yeah.
thought they were just kind of blonde.
No.
And Jerry got hers from a horse.
Horse, Jerry.
Yeah,
yeah.
Jerry.
The
I
name-
had this thing for the neighbor boy, and he had a horse named Jerry.
And that's how Jerry got her nickname. I got Blondie, I think when I went to high school.
I think it was from the Blondie and Dagwood series.
Yeah, well, you probably would, but I don't remember what people called me when I was
And of course Dewey was
Dewey.
Dewey.
Yeah.
Dewey's name.
He got that after he went to high school.
Yeah,
I mean, when he went to
Dewey.
high school, they called him Dewey.
Dewey.
And then it just stuck from there on.
But his mother never did.
No, it was
Oh,
always
no, it was
Merlin.
Merlin. Well, she always called me Eula when she was mad at me.
You know, I like thrashing time because we got to always ride with Daddy when he delivered the groceries.
Yeah, these ladies
I
would
never
call.
got to ride with my dad anywhere.
The
I don't
ladies.
remember ever riding with
Well,
my
you,
dad.
you know you weren't.
I know I
And
was.
one time I got to ride the horse over to Uncle Alfred's and deliver water out in the field, and I
For
thought I was
threshers?
a big shot. Yeah,
For Thrasher?
and I thought I was a big shot.
Oh my
Well, I
God.
did up that to Uncle Art's
I
and
know.
Bill. Got to ride the horse.
Yeah,
And take water
that
out to
was, boy,
the
you were
threshers.
the special
Where
person.
was I?
They were in stone jugs, gallon stone jugs, and they were wrapped in burlap.
That's right.
And they had water,
Around.
you know, water on the outside.
Keep it cool.
And the water boy, that was his job,
That's
to
right.
go to the house, get cool water in these, and take them out to the thrashing men that were loading the bales.
And these jugs always hung over the horn of that saddle.
Uh-huh.
And you know, when Aunt Mary or Uncle Alfred, whenever they fed the thrashers, we got to go over there. Did you go? I did.
Oh, you got to go and eat?
Yeah.
Well, if you delivered water, you probably.
Yeah.
If you were a water girl.
Yeah.
The only time I got to eat is when I went and had to help cook it, like the neighbor ladies,
Yeah.
you know. And I know these or these women, when they're going to have thrashers, they'd call in. We had telephone.
Uh-huh.
They'd call in their order, and Dad would take it down, and he would deliver it.
That's right.
They'll
And
deliver the groceries.
especially the meat.
Especially the meat, because it's
Fresh
fresh
meat,
meat.
you know, they couldn't,
Uh-huh.
they didn't have
They
fresh
didn't have
meat
it.
available, except
So-
chicken or what, and
And he'd go early in the morning, take their roasts to them and all that, and whatever, if they needed coffee or sugar or whatever else they needed. And he would deliver.
make a
Groceries.
thrashing delivery.
Uh-huh. That's the
Oh,
only
that was
time
a
he
big-
delivered
Yeah, that
groceries.
was a big time during thrashing, you know, you had to ride along.
Well, it's good for business.
Oh, yeah, sure it was. Thrashing was good, that's what I thought.
That was the point,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we ought to cover the basement shows. Oh my, and the living room dances.
Oh, yeah. That's where we get in trouble.
Yeah, well, we always had these, our basement there was just straight down and there were stairs up there and then there was just kind of a big alcove down there and then there was doors off of this.
3 doors.
3 doors. And all our dirty laundry was in this other one over, you know, and we'd use that dirty laundry for costumes. If we needed a sheet or an old shirt or a pair of trousers or whatever, we used those for costumes. And then there was 2 doors besides there, so we really had a production
And the customers came with their kids.
with their kids.
Kids.
And their kids and us, I don't know as I think we did all those shows.
I thought,
Or sometimes we'd
trade off.
get somebody down there to help us. But anyway, they
I
would sit
think-
on the steps.
I think we were the,
Yeah, and we would put on these shows down there, go in there and get the dirty clothes and get a sheet if it was a ghost or whatever.
Well, yeah, the neighbor kids would just fill the stairway.
Yeah.
We had a lot of kids.
Watching
Yeah.
the show go. One time we looked up and the railing was just lined with the dolls. So she came out of the store and was watching us perform.
They'd come get their kids and here we were, you know, and they were still watching us. So I don't know what all we put on, but I know we used the dirty clothes for costumes. And
vinegar came in 40-gallon barrels. And it was always kept in the basement. And I know when Mom had, people would bring their jugs to get filled for vinegar for pickles and so on. And she couldn't get down the basement steps to get the vinegar because it was too crowded. So they'd have to let her down.
Do you girls remember we used to go in the kitchen and mix up
Oh,
concoctions?
it's a wonder we didn't kill somebody.
It is a wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to go in there and mix up everything.
Yeah.
Imagine what a mess we left in that kitchen.
Oh,
and
I
my
know.
mother, I know.
then it was all,
she
you
ever
know,
said anything.
then we'd have people come and they had to guess what they were eating.
Yeah.
Set them around the
guess-
table and with
All
had to
this-
have a blindfold
Oh, yeah,
on.
All this
Blindfold.
stuff we mixed
And
up.
we'd bring her around and let them taste, same spoon, I think. Let them all taste it. And then they had to guess what it was.
See, we had our own games, I guess.
I mean, do you remember seeing stars in the sleeve?
Yeah.
We pour water.
They look up the sleeve and we pour water down the sleeve. We were an orphan bunch, really.
We were entertaining. That's why the kids had come back.
Well, then we outgrew all this phase, and then we got to dancing.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mom, that big living room, Mom, and
Roll the rug up.
Roll
yeah,
the
roll
rug.
the rug up.
That famous rug.
That rug.
Where she sent the rags in to have it made?
That was Olson Carpet
Yes,
Company.
Yes, and it had to be wool.
Yeah.
It was a wool rug.
And she sent in the wool, and they made the rug.
That's right.
And it covered that living room.
Yeah.
Just all except, about
the
this
edges,
far
yeah,
on
around the
each
edges,
side. It was a large rug.
Anyway, we'd roll that back, and I don't know who played, if we'd used the Victrola or what. Did we
Probably.
Yeah, that Victrola.
Oh, we cranked that old Victrola, remember?
put on the records and we'd dance? And
Yeah.
I remember the first one we had, of course, Mom always had these, even though the rug was covered, the floor had to be waxed and shine.
That's right.
And of course, after you dance on it for 3-4 hours, there's going to be marks on that floor. So Sunday morning came. This was the first dance we had. She rolled us out of bed and we had to get down there and buff that floor because we scarred it all up, you know. But after that, when the dance was over, the kids that danced, they had to help us bust that before they got to go home. We got wise.
Oh, we played that old Victrola in the hole though, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure
Oh.
did.
Mother was proud of that rug.
Yeah, she was.
And she had a smaller one made, and it was lavender around the edge, and kind of a darkish metal. And we weren't supposed to do anything in the living room, and positively you couldn't have ink in the living room. Well, Blondie and I didn't always comply. We would like to play school, and we'd sit on the Davenport, and we thought, oh, we'll be careful. And we were sitting on the Davenport playing school, and we had our ink bottle there. And I don't know who got up, but somebody did, and the ink bottle went. And luck,
Upset. Oh.
yeah, luck would have it, it went on this purple rug,
Not the big.
not the big good rug. But that didn't matter. We paid dearly for that mistake. We got spanked by our mother, and we got spanked by our father.
When he come home and Mom told him, then he spanked us again.
God, we had been told never to do that, and we did. But
Did
we
you ever
lucked
get the,
out.
I don't remember that. Did you get the spot out?
Oh, I
No.
know.
Well,
Back
not
in
that
those
ink.
days, ink was permanent.
Ink was permanent.
She
It
knew
just
it.
Stayed there.
But you know, we could, I suppose you girls helped us, maybe, try to
Don't
clean it up.
remember.
I don't
Innocent.
either.
But,
I don't know what we done. I
it,
don't remember. I just remember. we
It was
got-
on there, but it didn't go clear through, and she could turn it over because they were reversible. But I remember we didn't use ink in the living room. Yeah.
I remember when we sat at the table and one of us would act out when Mama takes out behind the house, you know. And I know every time one of you kids would go, I would cry.
Because you knew what you was getting.
Because I knew you were getting spanked.
I always had to sit by Mother.
Well, you know why.
I know why. I always got to sit by Mother
Why? Tell us why.
because I was ornery. I always got in trouble.
You remember these great big books of
Yeah.
men's
yeah.
samples?
I got one.
You've got one. Well, Arlene does too. And then the other one must have been in the long closet that got rained on or something. And they had samples, what were there about, in here on the whole page would be samples of men's woolen fabric that they would make suits out of, you know. And then
You could order.
You could order, you know. And of course, Dad, if you wanted one, Dad'd order it for you, you know, and your size and everything, and whatever size
Oh,
you
yeah,
got.
that big.
Yeah.
Leather bound.
And these samples were pure wool, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they were about 5 by 7 samples, weren't they?
Uh-huh.
And I remember old Graham took those all out, sewed them together, and made a comforter. You remember that?
No, but I can see her doing it.
Yeah. And she took them, you know, where Dad got where he didn't order these anymore. And he had all these samples, 3 or 4 books of them. And her mom and Graham took those samples out, and Graham sewed them together. And then made I don't know what the underlining was, but boy, that was a heavy comforter. And then they tied them. So you didn't throw anything away.
We used them for scrap.
Scrapbooks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they were big and bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got any pictures in it or any scraps or anything? Or?
No, I think
It's just the book.
I'm just saving it for an antique. I
Yeah.
think.
It doesn't have any samples on it. though.
I don't know. You know, it's been so long since I've seen it. It's up in the closet, and I just.
Now, I know Arlene has one, but she used hers for scrapbooks.
Yeah, I
She's
know
got
she did. Yeah.
pictures and things.
Yeah.
of hers.
Well, that's good.
Was there any other games you played?
Oh, boy.
Always played hide and seek in the summertime, I know, outside with all the neighbor
All
kids.
the neighbor kids. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We used to walk the vinegar barrel. Dad'd give us an old vinegar barrel, and you know it was like that, you know. And boy, it was tricky to learn to walk.
Get up there and
To walk on a
that
vinegar barrel, but boy, you could do her, and you could just roll her all over the yard.
The main purpose of the vinegar barrel was to set on the corner of the house and catch
yeah.
rainwater.
That's right.
And the rainwater was used to wash our hair and wash our clothes. this was soft water. Mother was a fanatic about our hair.
That's right.
And
Tar soap.
Tar soap,
Put
that's
up
right.
tar soap, and
Grandpa's
melted
tar
it,
soap, that's right.
and she washed our hair with tar soap and soft water.
Stank, but oh, our hair was pretty. wasn't
Yeah, it was. I
Shiny.
must say, we had nice hair.
Shine, our hair would shine.
And since water was hard to come by, the well at the house got kerosene in it.
Oh,
There was a
yeah.
kerosene
That-
pump over the cement wall, and it leaked, and they didn't realize it or didn't do nothing about it, and it ran into the well. So it made the well, the water at the house,
The water smelled like kerosene.
no good. But of course, there was an excellent well on the other side of the warehouse, which was for the creamery when it was there. And it was, I think it was 4 feet across.
It was a large.
It's a large well, and it had a lot of water in it. So the water was no problem, except that it was down across the road behind
Bucket
the
by
warehouse. And bucket by bucket. So on wash day, if there was no rainwater, we had to carry water from down there. And one person would go in the basement, and the rest of us would pump and carry, and fill the great big wash, what do you
Iron
call it?
kettle.
Iron kettle.
It was a big one, too.
It was a big one. It
You
must
girls
have,
remember seeing it in the basement?
But-
Big round
Iron
kettle
kettle,
with
you
a
ever
frame
seen it?
around it.
And we always had a fire underneath of it.
it had a jacket on it with a firebox. It was not quite as
Oh,
big around
I
as
think
this
it's about as
table.
big as
Well, I
this
think so,
table.
too.
And it had a
Yeah.
jacket, and it was real, it was thick, it was, and we filled that, Mother built the fire underneath, had the wash water, and poured lye in it to break it if we didn't have soft water, and skimmed the top off of it after she broke the water, and then that's what she washed her clothes with. She was particular.
And they had to be boiled.
And
Well, the
white
white thing.
She
Boiled.
would wash the white
Yeah.
things and then bring them back over and
Like
throw them
you-
in the water that was left in here. And she would boil those white things in the water.
And the colors had to be washed twice.
Yeah. Yeah, she used the the water afterward to
Yeah.
wash the colors twice.
Yeah.
That's right.
We wring them out, put them back in,
Now,
wash
did
them again.
do you remember hand wringing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
I remember Dad down there doing, on laundry day, he was the agitator.
Yeah, of the big wooden
big-
dolly that
yeah.
was in the top of the lid. It had a dolly in the top of the wooden lid that went this way, and to make it do this, you had to go this way.
I remember Dad doing that on wash day. He was,
But I just remember the gas engine.
oh,
I
do
think
you?
that's all I
Right.
remember too, is the gas.
Gas engine. And I didn't know about the ringer, whether we always hand did that ringer. I think we always.
Oh, yeah, it had to
turned
be-
the ringer.
It had to be done this way, yeah.
I still don't understand how Mother got them hot clothes out of there.
Oh, she
With
had a
the shake
big
stick.
stick.
Yeah, I know
Big
she
stick.
did, but I
And
didn't
put 'em-
know.
oh,
It's
yeah.
dangerous, yeah.
Kids couldn't be down there. Or how she got it done.
Oh,
Yeah.
With, she
I
had to
know.
run up those steps,
Yeah.
wait on a customer, run back down.
Well, they had help in the store though.
Yeah.
They had,
Yeah,
yeah,
Mom.
because
And
Aunt
Emma was
Marie
there.
was working up there, I remember. That's how she met Uncle Arch.
Wash day.
Uh-huh.
Wash day, we always had weenies and baked beans. Or pork and beans.
beans. Van Camp.
And they had to be Van Camps, because Norma wouldn't eat any other bean.
No, we oftentimes blindfolded her to see if she could tell the difference.
Now I like bush beans.
But on wash day, we always got to have weenies.
Oh, I thought a steak and pork and Van Camp pork and beans was the best meal ever made.
We washed the clothes, you hung them out on the line. Oh, you starched most of them.
Yeah, the dress.
You had to starch them. And then hang them out on the line, then bring them in and sprinkle down the starched clothes and roll them up, put them in a basket, and wait a half a day anyway before you iron them.
Usually the next day,
we
usually.
did. And I can remember if Mickey rolled them down, she never rolled them tight enough.
Poor Mickey.
We'd have to do it over. She just wadded them up and put them in there, but we,
Oh,
Mom,
we had to be real
they had to
tight.
be tight.
We did them the way Mother wanted.
That's right.
Then we had flat irons. Boy, it was on a good day when we got a Coleman
Yeah.
gas iron.
Iron,
With
that's
a little
right.
tank on it that you could put some gas in and pump up the pressure on it and light the fire.
Oh, you could just iron and
and
iron.
iron. Oh, that was the day.
And
And
Mrs.
we didn't have
Bernhardt
to
one
use flat
time, she
irons.
came down to the store and Mom had her clothes out there and she says, my, but what a pretty rainbow out there. All the little dresses.
All the little dresses.
Do you remember what we did with the wash water?
Oh,
Yes. You
Oh,
had to go
yeah.
out and wash out the outhouse.
Outhouse.
Yep.
It had to
That's
be
right.
cleaned every week too.
You took that soapy
Soapy
water
hot water.
out and cleaned out the outhouse.
Scrubbed
You
it
know
down
what?
all over.
We were the luckiest people in the world. We didn't use catalogs, we used orange wrappers.
Yeah.
Right.
Wrappers from the fruit.
That's right. It
My
was
dad
not
saved
better than
them.
a catalog.
Oranges
Dad
came
saved
in
them
this
for
kind
the
of
little tissue paper
toilet.
like
Yeah, they were all wrapped in
Oranges
tissue
just
paper.
came in a crate. And they were, the crates were
Wrapped.
divided.
right.
And each one was individually wrapped in the nicest paper.
Tissue
Compared to
paper.
a
To a catalog, yeah. My favorite thing was
We
to
didn't
go
have Charmin.
to
I don't know
go
how
to the
come you girls
toilet
got
with my dad.
Go where?
That was my favorite thing, was to go to the toilet with my dad. You know, we had little seats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had a low
There were
seat like
two
that.
here and then down and then
Little one for us
over there.
kids.
That's
you know.
right. We
And
did.
I love to go to the toilet with my dad. Don't know.
You didn't get to ride the truck though.
No. But I got to go to the toilet.
Well, no. I didn't.
Well, they couldn't
Because-
trust you anywhere.
I always wanted to go places with my dad. And if I asked him if I could go with him when he was going, he would say, ask your mother. So one day, Dad said, I'm going to Charlie's. And I heard him say that. So I run to Mother and I said, can I go with Dad? Well, where's he going? He's going to Charlie's. And she just smiled and said yes. So I went out and followed him and he went to the toilet.
That was Blondie's privilege.
Yes.
We broke up that.
Oh, that's funny, Charlie.
That's interesting about the iron. I didn't realize there was ever a gas iron.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
gas
it went
tank,
from-
right? It was a Coleman,
to being
no,
electric.
Coleman company put out the prettiest, cutest little
Yeah.
iron, and it had a glass ball on it about this big around, and it had a little pressure thing on, like, you know, the gas lanterns. Have you ever seen the Aladdin gas lamps that you put up pressure on? Well, it worked like that, and then it just put out a thin stream of gas, and you could light it, and you had a little fire in there. You could adjust your flame.
Was it kind of dangerous though?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
I never heard of one exploding.
No.
Okay.